I'm Katrina. I figured to start out with the Everybody Loves a Good haul. So I got a few new books at Barnes & Noble, Book of the Month, and I do a couple of subscription boxes just because I love books so much. So I do Book of the Month, and then I also just started this month the Wordy Traveler, it's called. So it's a travel box where they choose a region and then they find books from that area, both nonfiction and fiction, and then they also send with some little artesian things from native peoples, and then some coffee and tea. So I will show you what I got in that as well. So Book of the Month, this month I decided to get The WilderWomen by Ruth, Emmie. This is my pick of the month that I decided on. It is a, I'd call it like a kind of fantasy, magical realism type, about two sisters that have powers and their mom disappears, and how they cope with that, and then later on in their life they come back together and try and find her again. So we'll see how that goes, kind of a sisterhood mixed with fantasy type book. And then I also picked up as an add-on The Maid, which is a mystery type book, and everybody has been talking about that they like it a lot more than, it's a little bit different than your normal mystery books. The main character, I believe she has some disability. She struggles with social skills and misreads the intentions of others. And it's says it's clue-like, and it sounds good. So I picked up that one as well. At Barnes & Noble this weekend, last week my husband was gone, and I had my two boys for the whole week, and so I took some time and just went off and wandered around Barnes & Noble for a while. And I hit up their buy one get one 50% off tables. Most of the books on there are hit or miss, but I found a few ones that I hope are good. One of the workers recommended a couple to me. She said that they were her personal favorites. So those two are Dava Shastri's Last Day. This one is about an older lady. I think she's like 70 or something. 70. She is dying of cancer, and she wants to read all of her own obituaries, and so she declares herself dead before she actually dies. She goes to a private island, but it turns out that some of her big secrets come out, and now she has to reconcile with her adult children and the world, of how the world thinks of her, because she thought it was going to be great news and it will all be amazing obituaries, but it's not. And this one was the Barnes & Noble monthly pick, and it was on the buy one get one 50% off table. And it was also a Good Morning America book club. So those are always interesting. The second one that was recommended to me was The Stolen Book of Evelyn Aubrey. I don't know anything about this one either, but it seems like it's about like kind of magical realism as well, but a journalist who didn't like her life, and so she wrote a different ending for herself, it seems like, in 1898, and then most of the story, I believe, is about her descendant. I don't know how many generations, but in 2006, she's always heard stories about her, and she wants to go back and figure out what exactly happened to her ancestor. So she goes back to England to figure out how she wrote things different. Next, I got the Tsarina's Daughter. So I always have been interested in Russian culture. The Russian Revolution has always seemed interesting to me. And so I like historical fiction a lot. And so I mostly read a lot of fantasy, but I also do historical fiction as well. I feel like they kind of cross over. A lot of fantasy is kind of like in a historical tense. And so this one is just about the daughter of Catherine I and Peter the Great, and what her father wanted of her, and then it seems like there's a bit of a magical realism twist when she gets, it says a woodland creature gives her Delphic prophecy. So I don't know if there will be a lot of magical realism or if it's just kind of Russian lore that she got that prophecy, and then she has to take over when a lot of her family dies. Next, so sorry, it might be a little bit long. I got a lot of books. But next is House of Salt and Sorrows. This was also on the buy one get one 50% off table. I read her Erin Craig's second book last month for a book club that I do, Small Favors, and that one was good. It wasn't great, but it was good. This book came out first. I had heard a lot about it when it first came out. I'm not good at scary books, and so I had avoided it, but then after reading her second book, it wasn't too scary. It was like ambiance type thing, but there was only one part that was a little bit creepy, and then it was fine. So I decided to pick up her House of Salt and Sorrows. I don't know anything about the retelling of this one. I think it's the 12 Dancing Princesses or something like that that's a retelling of, but I might read it this winter if I need a ambiantic feel, or else I'll probably read it next fall if I don't get it to this winter. And then Vespertine was the other one that I got buy one get one 50% off. I honestly don't remember what this one's about. I know a lot of people talked about it when it first came out. People loved it, or they did not like it and it was way too angsty for them. I typically like angsty books, and so I'm hoping that I will enjoy this one. It's kind of just like a fun read type thing. But yeah, I'll let you know if I read it and I like it, because I don't know what it's about. The worker at Barnes & Noble also said that one, she wants to read it as well. She says it's like a show on Netflix about a warrior nun, maybe it's called, but we'll see. Maybe I'll look that one up too. I'll finish up with Barnes & Noble books. I also picked up Grace of Kings by Ken Liu. I've been wanting to read his books for a while. Everybody raves about them, says they're so great, the next best new thing. Putting it up there with Brandon Sanderson and the good greats like that. So this is the first book in a series. I once again I think it's called the Dandelion Dynasty. But I don't know what it's about. It's high fantasy. I love good high fantasy with multiple books in it. So I picked that one up. I was thinking about also getting his short story collection, The Paper Menagerie, because that one I guess is even more spectacular writing. But I decided to just start with one for now, and I'll pick up the Paper Menagerie a different day. That one's more of a sad book, I guess, so I just finished a sad book, so I don't need to do another one right now. And then finally, this book I got a couple months ago when I was out in Portland, Piranesi, but I had put it in my purse and I forgot it was in there until I got my purse out again this weekend. So this one, I heard someone talk about it. I don't remember who at this point, but a couple people have read it. They say it's a kind of a different but good fantasy, and Susanna Clarke, I believe, is really big over in the UK. So this one, I don't know anything about it either, but it's a strange, more high fantasy, and we'll see how that one goes. And then finally, I got my Wordy Traveler box. So I did open this the other day because I was excited, and I didn't know that I would be starting up my channel again, but I decided, why not? So if it goes good, then we'll keep doing it, and if nobody watches and I hate making them, then we'll just have one extra video up, I guess. But so the theme this month is India, or this quarter. They do quarterly boxes, so you get one every 3 months. But this is the India journey, and they do have a little packet thing that tells you about all the different things they send, and they also have extension journeys, which I think most of them must have been sold out by the time I just signed on. They have a Black Friday special going on, so that's why I just did it now. But the only one that I saw on there was the Kaikei one, and I already have that book, and I loved it. It was a great book. If anybody hasn't read Kaikei, highly recommend. But I didn't get any extension journeys with this kit. And then they also have this little pamphlet with some fun facts and a recipe. So that's kind of fun. I might try and and make that, because I am a big fan of Indian food as well. So I got this coffee from the Sabase Opar Paravar blend. I wonder if I say anything in here. No, it doesn't talk about the coffee or tea in here. So that will hopefully be good. And then they also give you a packet of loose leaf tea. So this one is Nilgiri Korakunda. It's a single estate black tea from southern India, smooth and rich. So I'm excited about that. Real Indian tea from India. And then I got this cool, I think it's tin. Oh, it's brass. Oh, because it's from the brass city of India, Moradabad. And so it's hand beaten, and it's a cute little bowl. That's a nice decorative thing. My son was already trying to eat things out of it, so I'm gonna have to put it up on a high shelf, so that way they don't eat oranges and snacks and whatever else from there. I got this cool print of, looks like the Taj Mahal and some women carrying vases on their head in the middle of an elephant. It's beautiful. Might start hanging these up on the wall if I get a bunch of them. I have collected a few art prints from different cities that I've traveled to. I think I have one from Paris and New Orleans and Kona, Hawaii. So maybe I'll hang this up with those then. Pretend I traveled there. And then I personally signed up for the, oh, I got one more thing. I got this, it's a handmade, part wood, part resin bangle. It's kind of cool, square shaped. And that came with it as well. It says it is from a Delhi-based artisan who's well versed in contemporary trends. And it's a handmade bracelet. It's a form that's widely practiced in India and involved long hours of manual labor and precision. So that's cool. And then I signed up for one fiction and one nonfiction book in all of my boxes. I mostly read fiction, but I do tell myself I should read more nonfiction. I like learning, personally. And so I tend to listen to more nonfiction audiobooks, but I do like reading them. It just takes me a little bit longer to get through nonfiction books because I don't tend to pick them up quite as often. But I picked up I was given the Henna Artist as my fiction book. And I've heard good things about this book. I think Jenny, she has a channel, This Story Ain't Over. She has talked about this book a few times, I believe. But it says it's escaping from an arranged and abusive marriage. The 17-year-old Lakshmi makes her way from the 1950s rural village to the city of Jaipur. So it's her story, it looks like, as she's growing up. And then I got, as my nonfiction book, I got Arrow of the Blue Skin God. And it sounds like anthropologist and journalist Jonah retells the ancient story of the Ramayana and the hero's epic quest in contemporary India and Sri Lanka. So that'll be interesting. The Kaikeyi actually involves the Rama from the Ramayana and his stepmother. So that was kind of a feminist retelling of that. So I got kind of her side of the story. So it'll be interesting to hear the original male side, the original telling myth that they tell in Indian folklore. So yeah, I'm excited to get into those books, and I'm excited to see what other quarters they have coming up. And this also came in the box. I'm not quite sure what it is. I think it's a bookmark, like you put it around the book, and then this is like a little pointer to show where you are on the page, like a reader, maybe. I don't know, that's my guess. Doesn't really say anything about it in any of the pamphlets, but yeah, that's about it. So I will see you next time. Maybe I will do a reading wrap-up once I read a few books. I actually just finished a few books, so maybe I'll do a wrap-up of those, or maybe I'll do a vlog next. We'll see whatever suits my fancy. So See you next time. Bye.